I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of.
This idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff, you should get over that quickly.
If you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm going to try to take everything away from you.
There's a different group to get pissed off at you in this country for everything you're not supposed to say.
And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now.
Can't say fruit, can't say faggot, can't say queer, can't say Nancy boy, can't say pansy.
If I find out, you're fucking finished.
Protective measures that you mentioned, politically correct rules and so on and so on. They don't work. They in a way ossify, fix hate. Hate remains there.
Who's that? That's you!
There are many burning questions in this world. Questions like, is math related to science?
Is math related to science?
Is the earth flat?
Earth is
Flat.
The earth is flat.
My reality, my senses tell me that the earth is flat and stationary.
Is your girlfriend satisfied by the size of your... But the most important question of them all is, what is the meaning of life? But thankfully, we are not going to answer these questions. Today, we are going to investigate whether we are witnessing the death of a culture or not. Majority of the people are getting tired of the woke culture and are saying that is going too far.
You were a very liberal, socially liberal person in general. I mean,
I'm still the same. You all moved.
We did?
You all went so far out, you lost everybody.
Movies are being judged for their diversity quota rather than the actual merits like, I don't know, scripts, cinematography, acting. It's getting impossible to make jokes about the alphabet community. Due process is a joke now.
You know what I miss? Tougher parenting and evidence. Due process.
Right.
Somebody says something happened and then someone else goes, well, I said it happened this way, like the old Gumshoe shows. Then they had to figure it out.
People are trying to virtue signal and are getting offended over everything. There is this environment that is deeply troubling. Brands are coming along and joining the ride where Pepsi saves the world and Gillette teaches us about toxic masculinity. Well, I want to talk about 4 major events that are indicating that this craziness is dialing down a little. One of these events happened recently, so buckle up, put on your fancy hats, and let's investigate. Chapter 1. Due Process and Jussie Smollett. Why would a victim lie? This is a fairly simple question. A person going through trauma, how can they lie? And to be honest, it's a good question. Allegations of some sort like sexual abuse, discrimination should not be taken lightly. Because if they are taken lightly, it gets more and more difficult for people to come out. And if we have an environment where this is not taken seriously, I used the word seriously. There is a difference between taking an allegation seriously and believing the victim. Let me clarify this with a story. This story is of one Jussie Smollett. He went to a subway at night and got attacked by 2 white supremacists who put a noose around his neck and started to say racial slurs to the men. Jussie Smollett said he is a victim of a hate crime.
Answer. I kept walking and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, did you just say to me? And he said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face. Fighting. There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back. They ran off and I saw where they ran. And then I looked down and I see that there's a rope around my neck.
How long did this all
It felt like minutes, but it probably was like 30 seconds, honestly. I can't tell you honestly.
Why did the vast majority of people believe a story that is honestly so out there?
This shit was like international news. And everybody was furious, especially in Hollywood. It's all over everybody's Twitter feed and Instagram page. Justice for Jussie and all this shit.
Well, the answer is quite simple. It was the whole narrative of how America is so racist, the narrative that white people are racist. The media just created an environment that made race more of a problem than it actually is, to the point that where even a ridiculous story like this was met with not surprise, and then it happened. Everything fell apart.
Empire actor Jussie Smollett is in police custody after turning himself in overnight. He is accused of faking a hate crime after his story of being attacked by racists fell to pieces.
Smollett has been charged with disorderly conduct for filing a false police report, which is a felony in the state of Illinois.
Police say Smollett planned this attack because he was allegedly upset by how much he was being paid by the show Empire.
This is a very important incident as it marks the first time the narrative that everyone is a racist and believe all victims started to shatter for people.
So Jussie is potentially going to prison for a while, and in his wake, he has screwed over everyone. Think about it, members of the gay community are emotionally terrorized over something that turned out to be a hoax. Trump supporters are upset about being falsely accused, and Democratic candidates are tying themselves into knots trying to walk back their initial statements, calling this a modern-day lynching.
And it answers the burning question, why would a victim ever lie? Well, for fame. I'm going to call it like it is. Yes, this is a factor that one has to take under consideration. I used the word seriously because taking allegations seriously means being impartial and investigating before rushing to judgment. Due process.
That believe women. It's like all of them? How about 85%? I'll give you 87%, all right? But that last 13% that keys your car, lights your shit on fire, and puts a family pet in a pot of stew?
Who put a pet in a pot of stew?
Glenn Close.
Oh,
Glenn Close, yeah.
That's
because of this story being international and getting a lot of limelight, it made the pendulum swing more towards due process. Chapter 2. We live in a society, the mainstream media. The news media has gone completely off the rails. It's all about clicks and making a story far more sensational than it actually is. And this is nothing new. It has been there, it has been the case. Headlines are far more sensational than the actual events. And what can generate more clicks other than buzzwords like racist, Me Too, and other far leftist ideas? When it was about to release, people were proudly saying that they have not watched it, but it's bad and you should not watch it as well.
Right before the film came out, there might be some violence.
No, because I just didn't subscribe to that, quite frankly, bullshit thing that was happening in the media where they just pick a movie every so often and declare it means something that it doesn't. I mean, we had think pieces being written about this movie where people proudly wrote, I haven't seen the movie, I don't need to see the movie, I'm not going to see the movie, and then they would write 2 pages about why the movie's bad.
The news media has the tendency of stretching and bending to fit the sensational narrative. For example, if there is a headline saying that the most subscribed channel on YouTube is owned by a racist, it will sell more. Even if you investigate further and figure out that this is not at all the case, this is all crap. But they stretch the narrative a tad too far by labeling the Joker as a movie for incel and white supremacists.
We do have a warning this morning from the U.S. military about the new Joker movie, alerting service members that there could be potential violence at theaters that are showing the film. Amy is here with more on this. And Amy, law enforcement is taking this seriously.
They certainly are, Robin. Good morning to you. The FBI first uncovered the possible threats online from alleged extremists, sparking new fears after that 2012 theater massacre at the screening of another Batman-themed movie.
Is this whole idea of judging a movie on its actual merits instead of how much of the woke representation it has? That has been painful. So it is obvious that when people watched the movie, they realized that it is actually not how the media portrayed it. I feel like this significantly damaged the credibility of the woke media. Chapter 3. The Dave Chappelle effect. The thing that the woke culture heard the most was comedy.
And I'm saying we'd never condemn a comedian for saying a tasteless joke, would we? Not here, not in the Western world. You know, if that happened here, the comedy community, I mean, there'd be an outcry. When yes, I'm talking about Louis C.K., so I guess it's understandable. But is everyone having a go at Louis C.K. for wanking at women, or are we having a go at him for the jokes? Because if it's the jokes you're having a go at, you're an idiot. You know, that there really is nothing liberal or progressive about intolerance to jokes that you don't like. Do you remember when these puritanical, condescending, patronising, censorious attacks on comedy were the purview of Mary Whitehouse and Daily Mail readers? Ban this filth. Now it's us. Now it's The Guardian, The Independent, CNN, and half the time these days it's also whoever is hosting Live at the Apollo that week.
Being offended on everything. Comedy is the greatest way to speak the truth, and stepping on the necks of comics, making them regret jokes.
Scottish YouTuber fined for Nazi pug video. Scottish YouTuber Mark Meechan, aka Count Dankula, has been fined £800, around $1,100 for making a video he says was a joke.
Dave Chappelle just said enough is enough, and Sticks and Stones was born. A comedy special that was just unapologetic and made a lot of sense.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you say anything, you risk everything. But if that's the way it's gotta be, okay, fine, fuck it. He's back, folks.
Dave Chappelle very methodically punched back to the woke culture and made a lot of money doing it. Because of the scale of the comedy special, this news reached a lot of people. It's about the money. Once the companies start to realize the get woke and go broke phenomena, they're going to shift their gear. And then, chapter 4. Shut up, I don't care.
Binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer, and it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up, I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
Celebrities need to shut up about woke culture. They are so devoid of reality, complaining about global warming while flying in private jets.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God.
There is a clear divide between the people and celebrities, and someone had to tell them, and that someone was Ricky Gervais, the hero we all needed. And with that, I think we are moving into an era where far left woke ideas are losing steam. Remember what happened to Kevin Hart?
NBC clearly don't care either, 5th time. So, I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello? Lucky for me, the Hollywood Foreign Press can barely speak English, and they've no idea what Twitter is, so I got offered this gig by fax. So let's go out with a bang, let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all gonna die soon, and there's no sequel.
When you label someone and punish them and call them a racist when they are actually not, this is when you lose the argument. This is when you lose credibility, and you are doing more harm than good to the people who are actually victims. And for the Golden Globes to let Ricky host, it is a huge shift in the culture indeed. At least in my opinion it is. I still don't have a catchphrase. Bye.